So your name is Mary Mackey,
Yes, it is.
and you work with special needs children, right?
Yep.
Kids who have autism and other kinds of
Communication.
communication
difficulties.
needs.
So I
you're,
help
you're a
them.
pathologist, speech language pathologist.
Yes. So right now I'm working with children, but I also work with adults too, who
Okay.
are in dealing with issues that would cause communication disorders such as Parkinson's, stroke, MS, lots of things. And I also work with swallowing disorders, so that's another scope of
So
part
you've
of my
mastered the
practice.
human body and the human nervous system. You know how to sort of help people rehabilitate themselves.
Yeah, I definitely have a long way to go before I could say I mastered it, but yeah, I'm very interested in it, and I enjoy my job a lot, like both working with kids and adults.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean the job is fairly structured, but you go into you work with these kids and you help bring them out with the spontaneity and just how much fun you have with them. You help make them comfortable.
I think I relate better to kids sometimes than I do adults. I make friends easier with kids, and the fact that I'm kind of quirky doesn't bother them at all. They actually, that's they're used to that.
Yeah.
Because that's normal for them. So I like children a lot because they're so honest and they don't hide anything from you, and you don't have to wonder what they're thinking usually, or whether they're judging you, or so. It's just
There's a sort of an innocence and a purity there with kids.
And I meet adults like that too, like you,
Yeah.
Mariah. But
Yeah.
but it's just
Well, thank you.
not as often.
Well, I mean, I have my innocent side.
I'm not saying you're completely innocent. I'm just saying that I recognize that in people, in adults, that when they still are able to be that way.
Yeah.
Many people lose it when they become adults. They don't have that childlike quality.
Well, how have you maintained that in you? I mean, in your own life, how have you maintained your connection to?
I think my kids have helped me a lot.
Huh.
I think staying connected with my kids and wanting to be interested in what they were interested in helped me stay connected to younger people, maybe. And also, I think, I don't know, I think it's something you're born with, maybe.
Like there's a purity or an innocence gene, or a humility gene.
There's a word in biology called neoteny, which basically is late developing. And I always felt like that applied to myself and a lot of people in my family, that we are slower in developing, and it allows for more expansion, and it allows you to stay more childlike longer, maybe.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and so we just call that a late bloomer.
Yeah. There was a book that I used to read to my kids called Leo the Late Bloomer. Have you ever read that? I don't know who the author was.
Never heard of that.
But he had trouble, like, he was messy when he ate, and he just had trouble doing a lot of things, and his mom would just be sure that he was going to eventually be able to do it all, which he was, because he was just a late bloomer.
Yeah.
So
it seems like what you really do is you provide semi-spontaneous structure and encourage these kids to bloom.
That's right. And working with autism allows me to learn so much for myself, because not everything, but a lot of things are emphasized when you have autism, and so and the behaviors get so strong because of the autism that there needs to be something done, because for the safety of the child or whatever. So it causes us to investigate more into those things, like sensory, how our senses affect our body on our mind, and how overstimulated we can get. And that applies to everyone, not just people with autism. But we just don't recognize it because we are used to dealing with it all the time. And it's on a lower scale, so it's not so much that it interferes with our lives. But I do believe that if we can learn from what we're helping the kids with autism, we're going to be able to help ourselves all the way around.
Well, I mean, that's one of the ways you and I connect, because I have 2 kids with special needs on the autism spectrum, and I've learned a great deal about how the system works. And I mean, I've come to believe that they're not special needs; that they're special people. I mean, most of them are highly intelligent or gifted in some way, and if you can just find the way to communicate and connect with them in the way that matters to them, then you can help them express the beauty inside of themselves.
I was kind of resistant to that idea before I met you and Adina, and kind of both of you helped me see a different perspective. And I was on a radio show recently with Maria. I can't think of her last name it's a French last name and I can't pronounce it right now, but she works with ANCA, which is I don't know exactly what the acronym stands for, but it's Naturally Autistic is the name of the group, and it's a group in Vancouver, British Columbia, where it's all run by people on the spectrum. So everyone that works there has some form of autism themselves, and so they are able to know firsthand what it's like to be out in the community. And so they can, a lot of times, are able to connect the parents with their own children, because so many parents don't even know how to relate to their own children if they have autism, because it's so different than what they've ever experienced.
Well, that is very helpful, especially because, I mean, we tend to think of autism in the sort of Rain Man sense of being this very strange person with very few communication skills and social skills, but in reality there's all kinds of autism. Is so individual.
Yeah, and finding out that so many things are on a spectrum. It's not, I mean, autism is one of them. A lot of things that we used to think were either this or that isn't necessarily true. That there are gradations or variations on all of those things, and we all have aspects of it in ourselves. And maybe it'll be less scary.
Well, I think it's also helping us to just embrace the complexity of the human being. And to think in more than just black and white, normal, abnormal terms. Because that's usually what happens with parents. When you tell a parent, your child has special needs, they think, oh, my child is not normal. But in reality, they are normal, they just have a unique personality.
I can't tell you how many times I've had parents of preschoolers ask me, and I've told them, yes, your child has a language delay or a speech delay. We're going to do these things. These are the goals that we're going to work on, and we're going to get them caught up. And even kids that are pretty typically developing, parents, when they hear those things, they will say to me, are they going to have to be in a special class, or are they ever going to be able to be in school? I mean, it's very concerning to them because it's still a stigma. There still is that stigma there. I still see it in the public education system when those kids are in a different classroom to get the extra help that they need. They want the doors shut, or they're still, that.
Well, and I think that's because A, we've only recently begun to learn about it over the past 30 years, and B, there are still just so many things in our society that have a stigma on them, and we're trying to destigmatize so much. We're trying to get away from this very linear notion of how a human being is, and embrace the nonlinearity, the multifaceted aspects of every personality. Because we've been putting people in the boxes for so many years, when you stop doing that and when you embrace the fullness of the human being, autism and all other kinds of spectrums, that's what you get.
Even heterosexuality and homosexuality.
Exactly.
It's like you're not necessarily one or the other.
Yeah, I mean we've been able to embrace variation in color and race. I mean, we have
To a
multi-ethnic people. We have multi-ethnic relationships. Why can't we have multi-faceted people? Multifaceted personalities.
Well,
So that's the future,
that's what I
right?
would like. I would like to see my students be able to be looked upon as gifted rather
Yeah.
than disabled, and that's something that I want to keep in the forefront of my mind, so that when I am studying techniques or programs, that I always keep that integrated as well, so
Yeah.
that they never. I just don't want my students to ever feel like I think I'm better than them, or
Yeah.
I am pitying them, or
Well, maybe that's why you were a late bloomer yourself, because now you can really relate to other kids who are late bloomers, and you can share this idea of you're just normal.
yeah,
Everyone is a healthy human being,
yeah.
and all you have to do is have relationships that help you express the specialness about you.
Yeah, and that sounds really easy, but it's not really.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I do the radio show, the Wisdom Hour, because it helps me to help other people express their specialness.
Yeah, so working with kids, whether they're special needs or typically developing kids, they're definitely, I have a special place in my heart for them.
Yeah.
If I'm at a party, I would probably be hanging out with the kids,
Of course.
because that's just, they're more fun.
Yeah. Well, it
They
has.
talk about really interesting things. They don't talk about politics.
True. Well, it has been very nice hanging out with you.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I wish you'd stay longer.
Me too, but places to go, people to see,
That's cool.
So thank you so much, Mary.
You're welcome.